Hey, good morning, guys. It's Donald and Mary, and we're here to bring you your morning weather, water, and trail chatter report. And so, Mary's going to start off this morning with the water and weather, and then we'll move on to some news that's going on in the hiker world. All right, Mary.
Thank you, Donald. All right, good morning, everybody. Right now in Blairsville, it's 64 degrees, and we have a little bit of fog going on out there. Today, we're going to have a high of 80 degrees. It's going to be cloudy this morning and then partly cloudy this afternoon. 61 degrees tonight and partly cloudy. Up on Blood Mountain today, we're looking at a high of 73 with patchy fog before 8 a.m. and then a slight chance of rain showers between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. and then a chance of showers and thunderstorms. Partly sunny today with a 30% chance of rain. Winds are 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then tonight, 61 degrees for a high and chance of showers and thunderstorms before 8 p.m. Mostly cloudy, 5 mile per hour winds, and a 30% chance of rain. Water is good out there. Just still make sure you top off at Hawk Mountain. That way you're good until you get to Justice Creek. There always is a dry spot going through there. All right, Donald, I'm going to turn it over to you now. Talk about some other stuff we got going on out here.
All right, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Great job, my friend.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, and so, guys, this is what I have going on today. We have a little bit of news. First, we're going to start off with some news about the hikers on Katahdin. They did locate the daughter between the Saddle Trail and the cathedral. There is a little area there. I believe it was an area that was kind of wooded with boulders and stuff, man. And so they did locate her body. She is deceased. And so it is a tragedy. But I want to read a news article that I found on Yahoo explaining a little bit about what is going on. So I've been looking for any type of information that will give us an idea on what happened out there. I can gather a little bit, but I can't. We still don't know what happened, and it sucks to be left in limbo. So on June 4th, the bodies of two missing hikers from New York have now been found near the summit of Katahdin. Search teams found the body of Esther Keterling, 28, of Ulster Park, New York, around 1 p.m. Wednesday in a boulder area between the Cathedral and Saddle Trails off the tablelands north of the summit, Baxter State Park officials said. She was found approximately 1,000 feet from her father, Tim Keterling, 58, who was found around 2:45 p.m. Tuesday on the Katahdin tablelands by a Maine Warden Service canine search team. The search for Esther resumed by both air and ground around 8 a.m. on Wednesday, officials said, concentrating on the east side of the mountain. The search team included 25 game wardens, 4 game warden canine teams, 21 Baxter State Rangers, and more, including helicopter support from the Maine Army Guard and Maine Forest Service. The pair had been missing since Sunday morning when they were last seen headed toward the summit. An intense search for the pair began Monday and grew to include dozens of game wardens and park rangers. Joe Keterling, Tim's brother, told the Press-Herald in an interview Wednesday that the father-daughter duo were close and loved hiking and being outdoors. He said they were both serious about their Christian faith, which sustained them through whatever life threw at them. He described his brother as a remarkable, lively man who had a knack for making friends in unlikely places. He could keep children and adults alike spellbound with his humor and storytelling. He was one of a kind, Joe Keaterling said. There was no one quite like him. He will be sorely missed, as well as Esther. Joe Keaterling said his niece was a soft-spoken, sensitive woman who loved to read and write. The two of them compared reading notes, book recommendations, and exchanged poems. She shared her grandmother's affinity for Russian literature, including works by Dostoevsky and Tolstoy. And one of her favorite poets was Gerard Manley Hopkins. She was a wonderful conversationalist and a deep thinker, Joe Keaterling said. Tim Keaterling was married with 4 daughters, including Esther and 2 sons. The family was close, and Joe Keaterling said his brother enjoyed spending time with his 2 grandchildren as well. The father and daughter both worked at Rifton Equipment, a company that designs adaptive equipment for people with disabilities. Anyone who attended one of these sessions can't help but remember Tim's lively presence and the joy and fulfillment both he and Esther found in helping all of you serve the children and adults in your care, reads a statement posted to Rifton's social media accounts. The Keaterlings had traveled to Maine for work and planned on hiking Katahdin at the end of their trip. Joe Keaterling said they had collected equipment and researched the climb in preparation for the hike. I think it's clear that they ran into unusually difficult weather, Joe Keaterling said, adding the park officials indicated to him that the conditions were terrible during their hike. Forecast for Sunday by the National Service Office in Caribou called for scattered showers at Katahdin Summit, with winds peaking at 30 to 40 miles per hour and temps low in the 30s. After recovering Tim Keaterling's body Tuesday, search crews repositioned their resources to the nearby area, but initially found no clues about Esther Keaterling's location. Park officials said a helicopter with a thermal imaging device searched the area Tuesday evening. The search for Esther Keaterling resumed early Wednesday with helicopters. Ground searches began their search around 8 a.m. and had concentrated their efforts on the tablelands, a wide plateau west of the summit, as well as the trails and streams on the east side of the mountain. The search included 25 game wardens, 4 game warden canine teams, 21 Baxter State Rangers, helicopters from Maine State Service, Maine Army, and National Guard assisted with search and crews to the summit. Park officials closed the Hunt and Abel trails while the search was going on. It was not clear Wednesday when those trails would reopen. On Saturday, Esther Keaterling posted a blog to Substack, saying she and her father planned a sales trip to the area around a weekend so they could hike Katahdin. She said they planned to start hiking the A-Ball Trail by 7 a.m. Sunday if it wasn't pouring again. I'm a little nervous about everything I've seen about the A-Ball Trail, but I'm going to do it if weather permits, she wrote. If you don't see me back on Substack notes again, that's where I am. The A-Ball Trail is a popular but challenging hike that ascends the southwest side of the mountain, gaining 3,982 feet in about 4.5 miles. It is the shortest route to Baxter Peak from a roadside trailhead. The trail used to include prominent A-Ball slide, but was relocated in 2015 after soil and rock movement increased hazards for hikers. The relocated trail uses the west ridge of the slide. The rocky terrain requires hikers to climb over large boulders. Carrie Kish, a hiker, writer, and registered Maine guide who writes outdoor columns for the Press Herald, said Katahdin can never be underestimated. Even if hikers are experienced and used to a challenge, it's still going to be challenging. There's no easy way up Katahdin. Every route is very challenging and very steep, rocky, and long, he said Wednesday. No matter when you go up Katahdin, you have to be prepared. Even then, the weather can close in and you can lose your way. Kish noted that the A-Ball Trail is particularly challenging with a 600-foot big boulder scram to reach the tablelands. On the tablelands, hikers are exposed to the elements, which makes it beautiful on a nice day, Kish said. On the other hand, if the weather closes in on you, it can be a very scary place to be if you don't keep your wits about you, he said. In October 2022, hikers died on Katahdin within 2 days. At the time, park officials issued a reminder that the mountain can be formidable, especially in the months ahead of winter. Several people have been rescued via helicopter from the mountain's trails in recent years, including 6 hikers who spent the night atop of the mountain after a woman in their group lost consciousness, as well as a woman who broke her ankle on the same trail 1 month later. So that's some of the story right now. That's probably one of the best ones that I've read so far that gives more of an idea on what happened up there. Like I was saying, it is a tragedy. God bless them both. I'm going to leave it at that for now. And then as the day progresses and more information comes out, I will surely I'll post information as I see it and read it. I will not be posting anything that is in the comment sections or any type of posts in rooms. I'm only going to sources that have facts. And so it's bad enough as it is. We don't need any stories or stories. I just want facts. So, all right. And so next in news, at Adams Fall, a gentleman fell from a 20-foot cliff. He suffered multiple broken bones, but he did survive the fall. Luckily, there was a woman with her kids down at the bottom of the falls, and she heard yelling and then looked over and saw a man. I guess she didn't, from what I understand, she did not know what she was looking at and had to double take, and she realized it was an older gentleman that had fell 20 feet from 20 feet above and cracked his head open with multiple broken bones. And so he is in stable condition now. He's lucky someone was there with him.
She was going through there. You know,
Yeah.
could have been stuck there.
Yeah, it could have been worse. Thank goodness there was cell service also, because I guess he knocked his head pretty good, and I'm sure it took a minute for the search and rescue or EMTs or whoever went up in there to rescue the man. I'm sure that it took a minute. And
Another
so,
good reason to carry a satellite.
definitely. And it's funny that you say that, because I just saw on Facebook someone was talking. She had posted a post talking about her husband being sick, and they have been in the backcountry, and that the incident with the Katahdin hikers, she was worried that her other half has heart problems, but they want to hike and do long distance hikes, and she didn't know what she would do if an emergency happened. And so multiple people talking about InReach and SPA and satellite phones, which is definitely the answer. Yes. I think that everyone, if you're going into the backcountry, You definitely probably should be carrying an inReach or some sort of satellite. Definitely something to connect you to a satellite, just in case something does happen.
That's right.
I used to not think that they were a useful tool, and as years have passed and things have blown up out here, I think it is a useful tool for people now.
Most certainly.
There's way too many mistakes going on out here.
You know, it's the slightest little thing that can happen. You know, you could be out hiking all by yourself. I'm just going to say by yourself for this instance, on a gorgeous day, and you just take that wrong little step. You
That's
could
right.
fall, twist, break a leg or something. And if it's a quieter time of year, you're not going to have a lot of people coming by. So if you have that satellite, then you can push that button and you'll have rescue.
It's funny that you just said that. You can slip and fall and take a tumble anywhere, right? Even with your hiker friends, man. I've seen many stories, man, where, well, not many, but a few different stories where the hiker gets up ahead of their friends and then they just disappear. That woman that I can't remember her name that was lost in Maine and the 10 a mile off trail that went in, she's one of them. And then I read another one in a book up at this when we were at Fontana. Remember that little store with the books, the ghost stories or whatever, man, and or people lost. There was a bunch of books in this little store at Fontana Dam. There's a little store down in the village. And so I was looking through the books, man, and I read one where they were hiking in the Smokies, and there were three of them, and I believe, I can't remember if it was a man or a woman, but the hiker went up ahead of their friends, and they just disappeared completely, man. They've never to be seen again. Now, I want to say, while I was hiking last weekend when we were hiking from Neil to Tesnati, Mary and Heather were a ways back, and I was up front just because my legs are longer and I can take big and I move faster. So I get up ahead and I'm just like thinking, and I wasn't really paying much attention, but I walked up around an obstacle that was in the trail, and I stepped right on the edge of the trail on my right side heading northbound, and it was a huge cliff right there. Not a cliff, but like a drop off. And I was thinking to myself, and there was a bunch of like mountain laurels and stuff down bottom and stuff, man, real thick and a lot of brush, man. I was thinking, man, because I almost slipped. I was thinking I could have slipped right there, fell down that hill into the bushes, man, and disappeared. And probably no one would find me for a while because, you know, Heather and Mary would walk up past but that can happen so quickly. And, you know, there it was an embankment, so probably I'd fall down and you know, I'd be all right most likely. But think about it if it were a different area where there's cliffs on the side and stuff, man. You just disappear into nothing. You know what I mean, man? And so many people, man, get near the cliffs today and, you know, just want to take a picture on the edge, man, or something. And then they slip and fall, man. But definitely like a spot or an inReach, I believe is definitely a good thing to have out here.
I want to give an example of getting hurt while you're out there. A couple of years back, I had a lady, she was hiking down here, and she told me that while she was up north hiking, she had been alone at first because she was out doing a solo hike, but she encountered a gentleman and they decided to hike together. But if that had not happened, she said when they were going to set up camp for the evening, she was walking over, she was getting ready to take her pack off by this rock. And she said the weight of her pack shoved her over the rock. She broke her femur. And he had to go all the way to the top of the mountain to get a signal to call for emergency. So what would have happened if she'd been out there by herself?
Right, bro.
That's an example of anything can happen. She wasn't even hiking. She was just going to take off her pack.
That's right, dude. That's right, man. Anything can happen out here, and it's good to have that spot or inReach or a satellite phone. You can rent satellite phones from Iridium. They'll rent them to you. So if you're going into the deep backcountry, might be a good idea to have.
I think it's a good idea to have one.
Definitely. And so about a week ago, I had mentioned a burned body located or discovered on Stone Mountain, which is a popular trekking, hiking kind of place.
A popular day hike, right? I think.
I've never been there, and so it's too populated for me, man. And so it's not attractive to me, man. So I don't go there. But I've never been there. I'd like to go just once. I heard they have like music playing or something down there. Is there music?
They used to have music and a laser light show when they had the carving on the mountain. They would have it at night. I've been to it once. It was kind of cool, but it was long, long, long ago.
What kind
but
of music was it?
I don't even remember. No. It's been a long time.
Leonard Skinner?
It's been a long time.
38 Special.
I don't know.
I just met
I don't remember.
Anyways, all right. So I've never really been there, so I can't explain the area. But from what I understand and what I've read, so the body was discovered. I guess there's like a gondola there, and the body was discovered by that area down below behind a pile of rocks, hidden away. This burned body was discovered. And so from what they are saying, the parents found a suicide note, and they're saying that it's a suicide, but GBI is still investigating the incident. Yeah, it definitely is. But besides all that, it's beautiful out here, guys.
It is.
It's very beautiful. It's perfect hiking weather. We do have a haze, which I believe is the smoke from.
It's come from the Canada wildfires.
And we have
And then there's a plume of sand coming from the Saharan desert. I guess it went through Florida yesterday, like down at the Keys, and it's supposed to come across here and go across like towards Mississippi and everything. But, to say what its actual path is going to be, I don't know. I don't know if it's gone through here already. I'm really not sure. But, you can see a haze out there. I think it's mostly from the wildfire smoke, though. That's what I'm seeing.
Okay. So we do have a little bit of smoke, but it's gorgeous out, guys. Come on out, hike, have a good time, enjoy yourself. There's waterfalls. It's not just hiking here. There is so much to do in the area. I call it one of the most beautiful places in the Southeast, the gem of the Southeast. I call the Southwest North Carolina, East Tennessee, and Northwest with pieces of Northeast Georgia. This little area, man, is one of the most beautiful places I've been that's accessible by car. And so it's that easy to drive down in here and do some hiking, do some rafting, do some kayaking, do some trout fishing, run your performance cars, your bikes, Harleys, tubing.
Zip lines.
Zip lines. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So, but let's go ahead and end it here. If anyone needs anything at all, please give Mary and I a call, and we will do our best to assist you. Thank you, everyone. And if anyone has any questions at all, man, anything at all, I don't care what it is, give us a jingle. All right, more to come, guys. One love. Peace.